Hey, good day, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn, founder of Active Trend Trading. Today's session covers the 5 pillars of active trend trading, which is a structure to build a trading system around to help you, one, clarify, simplify your trading process so you can multiply your profits and minimize your risk. If this is your first time joining us here on the Active Trend Trading's YouTube channel, Market Tech Talk, please just go right down here, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell and when we post additional content. Secondly, also give us a thumbs up and also let us know what you like about the content, and let us know if you'd like us to present anything special for you in the area of technical analysis or anything having to do with the stock market or trading stocks. And so, hey, let's get to the video. You're going to really love it. Aloha. Hey, good day, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn, founder of Active Trend Trading. Today I'm joined by my youngest son, Brandon Wilborn from Boise, Idaho. How you doing, Brandon?
Doing fine, Dad. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, Brandon volunteered to help me basically pull this video together where we talk about building a profitable trading plan in 5 quick and easy steps. Brandon, I get approached by a lot of people who would like to learn how to trade. However, they're afraid to get started because they don't know the steps. And so oftentimes, like anything else in life, when you don't know a proven process to start with, you'll hesitate. And, we just happen to be at a certain time in the market right now where we're going to be looking at some really excellent opportunities to jump on the market for big returns.
I would agree.
So let's get going in today's session. We'll keep this nice and brief for everybody so we can move right along. Again, so this is the basic trader training. This is an overview of what we're going to be providing. In the near future, what I'll be providing is basically a series of just short instructional videos on my YouTube channel, Market Tech Talk, that will talk specifically about the elements of what we're going to be discussing today. Disclaimer remains the same. We just want to remind you that what we do is for training purposes, and when we do start getting into some of the how we trade, what we trade, we advise people to paper trade anything that you're learning before you try to use your own money. We don't give any advice, and people occasionally parallel trade with us. So what are we looking at? 1, learning to trade the stock market is one of the most challenging and rewarding endeavors you will ever embark on. Now, I know you've been trading with me for, Brandon, a long time, almost since you graduated from high school. High school and then I know in college.
You had me at a Wade Cook seminar when I was 13.
Okay. So yeah, he's my trading buddy, man. I tell you, he does a really great job. So is this a fair statement, though?
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone through some pretty severe ups and downs learning, and the rewards when you finally do get some consistency it's worth it. And we've also learned that everybody trades a little differently. So I trade differently than you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really interesting about my son, about Brandon, is how many people in their 30s can say that they actually lived and traded through the stock market crash of 2000, the dot-com bubble. So as highlighted in my last videos, what I wanted to basically just say is that I showed 5 mistakes that traders make in developing a trading plan. And that development of trading plan must be a top priority when starting out. You got to have a plan, just like anything else. You have to have a map to lead you to success. But what should go into the plan? That's something that everybody always asks. And we've found basically, in my experience of over, 30 plus years of actual trading and all the training that I've had, at every profitable plan rest on 5, count them, 5 major pillars. Do you want to know what those major pillars are? Do you have an idea, Brandon?
Yeah, of course I have an idea. Well, we've looked at a lot of different systems, and some of them don't have all 5.
They don't. And so, even if you're even if you're investing your money with a money manager, you need to have basically all these 5 pillars in what you're doing when you're talking to the person and all that kind of stuff. And so let's get a little bit into what these elements are. Well, one, I like to define a lot of people think about trading strategies. However, they don't have a system. So when you try to trade strategies without a system, you don't have the proper rules and that kind of stuff, and you tend to lose a lot of money. I'll just straight out say it. You lose a lot of money.
What would you say is the difference between strategy and a system?
That's a great question. Strategy is, let me give you an example. I can say trading stocks is a strategy. And so in other words, it's just basically, but anybody can do that. I can buy a stock, I can sell a stock, I can but then not know what to do once I've bought it and or sell it. And so what a strategy does, that's a strategy. I want to buy and sell stocks. Okay. The system tells you how to do that so that you don't lose your butt, basically when and if a position goes against you. So does that answer your question, Brandon?
That does. So the system is a set of rules.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a set of rules, but it's also a set of routines. It's a set of, it basically allows you to say, if this happens, I will do this. But if this other thing happens, I will do that. So it basically is set up to protect the person and also give them confidence about what they're doing. I had a good buddy. Let me share a real quick story with you. I had a really good buddy who was trading a strategy. It was an option strategy, right? And when I first heard about this option strategy, the strategy was called high probability option strategy. Basically, when I looked at it, I said to myself, man, the only high probability there is with this strategy is you're going to lose a lot of money. And lo and behold, after the guy got it to trade, and he was doing okay with it. He was making a nickel here, a dime there, and all that type of stuff. And all of a sudden, he calls me up and he says, Dennis, he goes, the trade went against me. He goes, what should I do? And at that time, it had gone against him, and it was down, 5 figures. In other words, over $10,000. And I said, hey, man, you need to tighten up your stops, and you need to not let it go against you anymore. Is what I told him. I said, basically, the cow's already out the barn. You got to basically protect yourself. And
how much pain can you bear is what I often
how much
ask people.
pain you can bear. And the thing about it is with that strategy, it basically the pain became exponential. And so about a week later, I get another phone call from the guy, and he says, hey, Dennis, he goes, I should have listened to you. He goes, I left the money in. I left it, basically, I left it on the table. He goes, and it went against me again after earnings. He lost 6 figures out of a retirement account. Dadgummit, that's what tends to happen when somebody trades a strategy without having it being plugged into a system. So let's go over what, shall we go? And that's a sad story, don't you think, Brandon?
Oh, absolutely. But I think, with that kind of a story, buy and hold is probably most people's strategy.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
buy into something in the market or something you like, and then you just hang on to it, and whatever happens, happens. And
yes.
A lot of people, got cut in half in 2008. And,
yeah. A lot of people got
pretty severely recently.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because the people who are basically been trading the active trend trading system with me, in this recent dump that's, in the year's 2020, we had the Wuhan virus attack that kind of dropped the market. The S&P dropped over 35% in a 4-week period of time. One of the fastest, most unprecedented drops in the market in history. The active trend trading system, and people were following it, actually took our members out of the market and avoided 85% of that drop. That's pretty impressive, I think. And basically, it's just following the rules. And I like the concept of buy and hold, but dadgummit, there's some times when you can make a smarter decision. You can make a smarter decision with just a little bit of education.
Right.
So great question, man. Great question. So this is my structure. This, as you see here, this is a nice structure. This is the system. It has a foundation based on study, knowledge, experience. And a lot of people who come in and join with us at Active Trend Trading, we help them with the study, knowledge, and experience. I have my own I share from studying with the Market Technician Association, working towards my CMT. And I decided not to take the test on that because I don't need any more, at my point in life, I don't need any more initials behind my name. So, since I am a professional engineer, the system then is held up by these 5 pillars. We'll address each one of those. And then I can then put on top of my system, what do I want it to do? Do I want it to develop cash flow for me? Or do I want it to do capital growth? Or do I want to do a combination of both, which is always a great option or a great choice. So let's get, what are the pillars? And again, these pillars should be on any trading or investing system. And these are my major pillars. Number 1 is I want to know what to trade. Now, with Active Trend Trading, we trade only very select growth stocks and some specific ETFs that have proven themselves over the years, over and over and over again. So what to trade is very important. We don't trade junk. In other words, we don't trade penny stocks. We don't trade things that are prone to failure, and we don't trade stocks that just sit there on their butts and don't do anything. We want things that move. Any questions on what to trade?
And you trade the options on those as well sometimes.
I can trade the options on those, and I'm glad you asked about that because the option strategies that we utilize, guess what? They all go back and trade off of the Active Trend Trading system. Isn't that kind of cool? So you learn one system, and then you can learn a couple of different strategies that will, depending on where you're at with your development of your portfolio or the capital you're trying to trade with, you can go a couple of different ways. But the same rules apply to both strategies.
All right.
I think it's absolutely brilliant, but that's just
makes it easier.
And easy. Well, hence our theme with Active Trend Trading: clarify and simplify the trading process so traders can then multiply their profits and minimize their risk. So the next pillar to our system is when to enter, when and where to enter. In other words, I may have the best stock in the world that I'm looking at. I mean, like I may be looking at Netflix, and Netflix is just going nuts and all that kind of stuff. But if I don't have a plan, point of demarcation for where I get into the stock, when and where I get into the stock, I may buy what oftentimes happens to people. They buy at the high and they sell at the low, which, that's a great equation to actually lose money. We want to basically be, what are you laughing at your dad for, man?
Basic math, I think.
Yeah, we want to basically be buying low, selling high. So when to enter, when and where to enter. Then number 3 is when and where to exit. Now, did you know that when and where to exit has more to do with cutting your losses short, cutting your losses, than it does taking profits? And there's a great reason for that. The major reason for that is, as I hear this from people all the time, well, is there any risk? Could I lose money if I learn how to trade? And the answer to that is yes, you could. At the same time, though, it's a calculated risk. In other words, we use the process that traders have, that successful traders have used for years and years and years and years, where We limit our losses on a per trade basis to less than 1% of what our total investment that we have available. So with the adage being, if I control my losses, the winning trades will take care of themselves and more than outnumber the losing trades.
Right. Well, we take calculated risks walking, across the street.
We do.
Or driving. I mean,
yes.
Those are calculated risks, and we realize we try to take mitigating factors to keep our risk as low as possible.
Yeah.
But the benefits are going to outweigh that. I get that.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I did some math a while back, and if you calculate out the probabilities of a certain number of losing trades in a row.
Yeah.
If you keep your loss to 1% per trade of your total capital, you'll never go broke.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's statistically impossible.
Yeah, and where I see what happens, Brandon, is that people get involved with this, but because they don't have this system in place, they get into a losing trade, and it may start out good where it turns profitable right away, but then all of a sudden it turns into a loss. But because they don't have a stop loss to say, hey, if it drops this particular number, I'm out of it. They'll watch that winning trade turn into a losing trade, then it turns into a bigger losing trade, and then they say this little prayer. They say, Dear Lord, if you will just let me get back to break even, on this trade, I will never do that again, or I'll stop trading forever. And and the thing that's funny about it is all of it can have been avoided. Like I said, with this Wuhan virus that's just going around right now, when market started falling back towards the end of February, all of our members were in cash by the final 2 weeks of February, and we avoided 85% of the fall simply because we were following the active trend trading system, which I think, I've been doing this. Active trend trading system has been in place since 2006. And so I'm very pleased. I mean, we've averaged over 32% per year return without doing a lot of, risky, type of trades. Did they have risk? Yes, they did, but it was all calculated risk. Cool.
All right.
So the next pillar number 4, is what strategy are you going to use? And again, typically I'm using either one or two strategies. I'm either using a very simple, simple option strategy, or I'm utilizing a simple stock strategy where I'm just buying and holding the stock, trying to catch things where I can, this is the term I like to use. I like to buy at wholesale and sell at retail. In other words, this is another fancy.
Makes sense.
No, yeah, it's just another. When you think about it from somebody who's going to be buying and selling, it absolutely does make sense. I want to go. I want to go down to Costco and buy my toilet paper at a discount, and then I can turn around and sell it to people at a huge premium, especially these days.
I don't know if you want to advertise that.
Okay. Anyway, no, I'm just joking about that. So, okay, what's the strategy? And then lastly, what to expect. Expectations is absolutely huge. And
expect profits. That's what you expect.
And that is just absolutely one of the major mistakes that the majority of people make when they start out trading. They go, well, I just want to make a lot. They say, I want to make a lot of money. And the fact of it is that, one, I want to run this more or less like a business. And so if I invest $1, I want to have a pretty good idea of how much I can expect to gain from that dollar. Does that make sense?
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. And so literally we measure our trades through either back testing and or the actual trades that we're doing, so that we know that I know that 65 to 75% of the trades I do with active trend trading, they are winning trades. Okay, so my win-loss ratio is about 65 to 75%. I also know that I basically, on average, have returned about 32% per year, through the years. Since
So it sounds like you can factor in some math to figure out what you can expect for every dollar you invest.
That's exactly right. And also, when I put on a trade, typically I put on a trade with the expectation that for every dollar I invest, I expect to gain $2. Or for every dollar I risk, in other words, what I could lose, I expect to at least gain 2. So that works out pretty good. So that's it. That's the system, Brandon. There's 5 major pillars of a trading plan.
And so if somebody doesn't, we talked about this in the beginning, if somebody doesn't have one of those pillars, then their system is going to come up short, potentially catastrophically.
Yeah, without a doubt, because it's like it's almost like having a 3-legged stool, but you only have two legs. It's going to topple. Like if you remove any one of these pillars, the roof can collapse and fall in.
And you don't want that.
You don't want that. No, that would be as us engineers say, that would be not good. So okay. So any other questions, son?
Not right now.
Okay, well, let's just what's up next? Hey, just it's a little bit of a bonus to think about, as we get ready. Over the next several weeks, I'm going to be putting out a video per week that's going to talk about each one of the pillars in detail, because at Active Trend Trading, we want to be able to help you, as I said, clarify and simplify what you're doing with regarding trading, and then move into a process of multiplying your profits and reducing your risk. And that, remember, these are basically, some people think there's a holy grail to trading. It's a secret, like a matter of fact.
There's not.
There's not. And it's so funny because I hear a lot of people on the internet, I hear a lot of people, promoting certain stuff, and they want to tell you the secret of trading. And one of the things I've found in the 30 plus years that I've been trading is the secret of trading rested within you. It's about developing, becoming the kind of person that deserves to do well as a trader. It's a skill that can be learned, and just like any other skill. Is it different than other skills? Yes and no. But talent-wise, it takes the same level of importance. So what I like to say, there are only rules and tools. Rules and tools, which basically are ideas to embrace. If I approach it from there as only rules and tools, then it's very process-oriented. 2, always trade with a plan based on a system. Hopefully, after watching this video, you will know how important a system is. Number 2, wait for the extremes on indicators for highest potential trade setups plus reversals. In one of the videos I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be talking about a very simple setup that you can utilize to, if you just want to learn one, just learn one. Talk about clarifying, simplifying a process. That's exactly what that would do, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think I know which one you're talking about.
You probably do.
And it's funny that it's called, you put wait for the exchange. It's the Wilborn 8, I believe.
It's the Wilborn 8.
You could just shorten it to wait.
Yeah, the wait, Wilborn 8. I like that. So, hey, many opportunities will trigger multiple rules. That's one of the things that is happening. And one of the ones that I don't think I even have it down here, I will say it's rule number 4 that you don't see up there. And it's basically what my mentor used to tell me. He basically used to say, don't worry if you miss a trade, because the best trade of the year comes around about every 2 weeks.
I remember hearing that before.
Yes, you have. So, hey, here's what we're going to be doing with pillar number 1. What's a trade? Remember, we're going to teach how to fish where the big fish swim so you can take home the winning fish, or in this case, fish, but in our case, the winning stocks. So, Brandon, hey, thanks, man, for helping Dad out today. You got
Not a
any?
problem.
You got any final questions you want to ask before calling it a day?
No. Let's learn about fishing soon.
Okay, we'll get that going, and we'll get something out on that on next week, early next week. So until later, son, God bless you. Mahalo and aloha, and to everybody else,
Aloha.
aloha. See you guys.